Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Quite Frankly, the video web podcast where we talk about products that really excite me, that are new or that are a little bit older, but I just get them in because, well, at this point I test them. So join us for today, and today will maybe change the way that you create video. Join us for today's episode of Quite Frankly. Guys, what is the most important thing in video? Well, the content, of course. Yeah, that's obvious. But you know the rule about a video. The most important thing in video is audio. Sounds weird, right? We can get away with sloppy video, but we can't get away with mediocre audio. Now, in our studio we actually use Sennheisers, and for these podcasts I actually use a Bluetooth microphone set, and the audio is okay. But the video, well, the video is okay too. And why is the video okay? Well, because at this moment we're shooting from a tripod. We're using a stable set. Now imagine not shooting from a tripod and getting a little bit tired. How will it look? Well, it would look a little bit like this. So, do you like this, guys? Or does it feel a little bit like there's an earthquake? I will stop it before you get seasick. But you get the idea, right? We want steady video. Now, we do several different video web podcasts. For example, we do Behind Closed Doors, which is a vlog. We do Quite Frankly, which are product reviews. We do Digital Classroom, we do interviews, and we do a lot of stuff. Now, with the vlog, I always told people, and I always told Anouk and myself, the vlog can be really rough. We can shoot handheld, we can shoot longer scenes that are a little bit shaky because, hey, it's a vlog, it's like real life. But when we do the reviews or the live streams, I want stable video, so I want to use tripods. Now, over the years, the vlog grew into a little bit more than just a behind-the-scenes video. And recently we decided, you know what, that shaky video during the behind-the-scenes? Nah, we don't want that anymore. We want stable video. And actually, for our DSLRs or SLTs, because we're shooting with Sony's, we actually, or mirrorless, we actually use, for example, a C and grain. And very soon I hope to be testing the DJI Ronin S. And those are gimbals. Now, what is a gimbal? A gimbal is very simple. Well, it's actually not that simple, but hey, let's make it clear. A gimbal is like a Steadicam. What is a Steadicam? Oh, there we go. Remember Rocky? That scene where Rocky runs up the runs up that stair, and at the end goes like, yay, and the camera rolls around. Before that, that was hardly ever done, because that was done with a Steadicam. Now, these old Steadicams, they were really big. They were like a harness. Now, when you look at the modern Steadicams, they're still like a harness. Now, of course, you don't want to wear a harness during a vlog day, right? It looks ridiculous. We're not in the Middle Ages anymore. So, we also got something else, and that's a long time ago. We used something called a glidecam. Now, what is a glidecam? It's actually like a stabilizer. So, you put your camera on, there's a big pull down, and there are weights on the bottom, and you can hold it and you can steer it. It works very, very well. We did some really cool shots with it, but it's heavy and we don't want to bring it around when we travel because you also need the weights. Nowadays you can get gimbals, and gimbals are absolutely awesome. Today we're going to be looking at a gimbal from DJI. It's called the Osmo Mobile 2, and I can tell you already, I'm in love with this product. So I'm going to show you. So this is the gimbal. Now this is the gimbal in the off setting, so it's not connected at the moment, or it's not powered on. It has my mobile phone. It's a Huawei P20 Pro, and this is a pretty big phone, and it's also a pretty heavy phone, and I leave my case on. It's a really small case, by the way, but I leave my case on and it just fits. Now as soon as you turn it on, that's when the magic starts. You turn it on and there we go, and now it's stabilized. So now when I move around really fast, you can see that it actually smooths out that action. When I move like this, or up and down, it will actually just stabilize my whole set. Now I can also put it on the floor, because actually what I did is I connected a platypod. What is a platypod? This is a really cool device, by the way. I'm just gonna do a side review very quickly. It's like a base plate, and you can put feet under it, and it replaces a tripod. Although it doesn't really replace a tripod because you have to put it on the floor. But we used it in Norway, and it's absolutely awesome. We also have a bigger one, and in this case we use it under the Osmo Mobile. So we can just put it down and create some stunning effects. Now, is it just a gimbal? That's the question. And what can you do with the gimbal? Well, in the back, as you can see here, there's actually a little bit of a thumbstick. And what you can do with a thumbstick is you can turn it around and change the angle up or down, as you can see here. So it doesn't just stabilize it, it also moves it around. Now the cool thing about this is you don't see shaky video anymore from holding your camera like this. What you can see is really buttery smooth action, and the turns are really smoothened out. So this is absolutely awesome. But hey Frank, do we really have to pay a lot of money just for that? Now that's the cool thing, you don't, because this little has a lot of tricks up its sleeves. In Norway, we actually tried out some really cool stuff. Now, you do need a special app if you want to do this cool stuff. And the DJI app is called DJI Go. And this is my first complaint I have about the DJI Osmo Mobile Pro. Now, I use a Mavic Pro and I use the DJI Osmo Mobile Pro. For the DJI Mavic, I use the DJI Go 4 app. For this one, I have to use, I don't know if it's an older app, because it supports the DJI Mobile Osmo 2, so it's not an older app, but I have to use another DJI app. And that can be a little bit confusing. So now I have to remember, for the mobile, I use the app without the 4. For the Mavic Pro, I use the app with 4. So what happens? You guessed it, sometimes you're in a rush, you open up your DJI Mavic Pro and you can't find it anymore. You go, why can't I find my DJI Mavic Pro? Well, because I'm in the wrong DJI app. So it would be cool if they just combine it in one big app. That would solve a lot. So what can you do with the app? Well, what you can do with the app is pretty cool. You can just film with the app. And that's my second complaint. Although the app supports my phone, the Huawei P20 Pro, and it supports 4K, the output of the video is, let me put it this way, it's okay. It's not perfect. The internal app works great. DJI works similar, but if you use an app like Filmic Pro, that gives you way better quality. And now comes the cool thing. Filmic Pro supports the DJI Osmo Mobile Pro, Osmo Mobile 2. So if you are using a mobile phone and you're using an iPhone or you're using an Android, make sure you download the app Filmic Pro. It's not a free app, but it supports DJI. Now, the thing with that app, and there we go, there are a lot of pluses and minuses, is every time you start up the app, everything is set up, but you still have to connect to your DJI Osmo. I would really like that to be just automatic. When I open up the preset where I have the DJI active, just connect with the DJI. Don't make me go through everything set up, because that's the cool thing about vlogging. You want it fast, and you don't want to open up your app, start up your gimbal, then go into your app, select, you know what I mean? It's too much work. So anyway, but that's all stuff that can change. Now, the DJI app itself has some really cool features, and we're going to go through them now, the ones that I like. Now, of course, we have hyperlapse. Now, what is hyperlapse? Very simple. You film, you walk, and in the end, you create some really cool effects with that video. So I'm going to show you that now. The other one that I really like is actually time-lapse. Now, what is a time-lapse? You set up your camera, you set a determined period of time, for example 20 minutes, and now comes the cool part, and this is something that I really like about this one. You can set several points. So for example, you can start here and end there, and then in 20 minutes the DJI will very slowly go from point 1 to point 2, and it creates some stunning effects. It's really, really nice to see. And in the end, the video is already done for you. And it does it in 4K. So that's pretty nifty, right? And you can do several points. I'm going to show you that now in a video.
I see you watching me when we're with our friends. It's definitely something in the air. So let's take it from there, 'cause I know you want it. Afraid to let it show. And I know you need it. Why don't we let it grow, grow, grow? I think it's time we stop tipping.
Another thing that I really like about it is that you can just shoot it as a tripod. So you can just stay and just shoot it. And by the way, the time lapses you can also of course do on custom timing. So you can just press a record and just stop recording whenever you want. But you can also do it in 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 or whatever. It's really flexible. Now, photography wise, there's one thing that I absolutely started to love about this one and also started to hate about it. So again, a plus and a minus. And hey, you guys know I'm honest, right, in my reviews. So the one that I really like is actually the panoramic shots. You have 180 panorama, that's really wide, and you have the normal panoramic mode, which is already pretty wide. Now what does it do? It will actually ask you where do you want to shoot. You just set your camera and it will start shooting. It go like boom, 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 boom. It makes all these images. And then at the end you create this beautiful, beautiful wide shot. There's one problem, the resolution absolutely sucks. It's lower resolution than normally comes off my smartphone with one image. And although I have a really wide view, it's a really low resolution. Even in Lightroom on my laptop, it's a 4K screen. If I zoom in, it hardly zooms in. So what can you do? Well, luckily there is a solution. You can actually tell the DJI app to also store all the images from that panoramic shot. So you have like 21 images, for example. Now what you do with those 21 images, it's not that hard. You just go into Lightroom, select all the 21 images and just say render panoramic shot. And Lightroom will do all the work for you and you create this beautiful, very, very high resolution shot. Is Frank happy with that? Yes and no. Because the quality isn't up to par. It can be way better. And that's actually maybe a problem of my phone. The Huawei P20 Pro is an amazing phone. It's without a doubt the first phone that I actually call a camera that I also can make phone calls with. It's awesome. But on JPEG, it isn't that good. It just looks like crap, let's be honest. It doesn't look right. And the DJI app uses a lot of compression on those JPEGs. So the files are okay, but when you stitch everything together, at first glance you look at it and you go like, wow, this looks amazing. Then you zoom in and you go like, oh, I can really zoom in, what a detail. And then you look at the detail and you go like, yeah, it's way over compressed, it's not nice. And again, that's probably the phone. It's not the DJI's fault, but it's probably the phone. If DJI is watching this, I hope they do, please make an option that you can actually store the raw files, because this camera shoots raw. So why not just store the raw files? Because then in Lightroom you can create this beautiful panoramic shot. In all honesty, it's the only thing that keeps me from using this on a regular basis for those really wide angle shots. At one point, in all honesty, I never used multi-shot panoramic shots because, hey, I'm more like just aim the camera, shoot, and maybe do it like this, but never the up and down, and then, you know what I mean, right? So my panoramics were always like this, only sweeping, and I never did it like in 3 layers. Now, because I saw the DJI doing this and I was really enthusiastic until I zoomed in, I actually was going like, okay, let's grab my camera and let's just try it handheld. So I took the A7R III and actually started doing doop, 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 and did it like 21 shots. Put everything together and then you see the huge difference. If the DJI apps will start supporting RAW files, so storing that RAW file, I will without any doubt use this, because the Huawei P20 Pro, again, in RAW, it's an amazing, amazing camera. It's 40 megapixels and it's really, really good. Another really cool feature of the DJI Osmo Mobile Pro is actually the follow function. Now over here you see a target, so we press this and let's draw a line around Enoweek's head. There we go. And Enoweek, can you please move your head to that side? There you go. Now go back. Really nice. And do it really fast that way. As you can see, it tracks it pretty well. But after a fast one, it actually lost Enoweek, but it already found her back. So this follow function can be pretty cool. Now when I move my Osmo itself, as you can see here, it just keeps Enoweek in the frame. When I move it up, it just tilts the Osmo. And when I go down, it actually tilts it up. So the follow function really well, and the studio of course has, well, really dim lighting. Outside this works like a charm. Inside this is a worst case scenario, and it tracks it pretty well. Cool extra feature. Okay, so overall, am I happy with the product? I absolutely love it and I highly recommend it. Now, there are also competitors, and I'm not going to mention any names because I don't think that's fair. Now, why should you go for the DJI? Very simple. there is something called support. And there's something called software support. Now, your support can be the best in the world. You can call up a company and they will be very kind to you. They will lend you products. They will be very, very friendly. But if the product itself isn't supported well in software, you have a gimbal and you don't have all that cool stuff. So at first I also was looking, because some people think that we get all this stuff. I actually paid full retail for this one. I bought it and I was also looking at the competitor. The thing was, a lot of the reviews I read was the software is amazing from the competitor, but it doesn't work on Android. Or this function is amazing, but it doesn't really work on iPhone. And I was just going like, why is there a difference? With DJI, you just know that they will update their software. It's a big company. They really have to make sure that their products are up to par. So I actually choose for this one, and I calculated a little bit that Android software would be not fully supported. I was really surprised. Everything works like a charm. So that's why I would advise you guys to actually go for a DJI product instead of another company, because you just know they support their stuff. To give you another example, I still have a little bit of a device here to trigger strobes from my phone. And for a year, the company has been promising an Android app. So we got it a while ago because the Android app was coming. Without a month, the Android app would be here. We're now 1 year later, and last week they actually released their Android app. You know the cool thing, which is absolutely not cool? It only supports a few Android phones. And this phone, which is actually the phone for photographers, 40 megapixels, Leica cameras, it's the phone that isn't supported. And you know the other weird thing? RAW files aren't supported. So you go like, for a year we've been waiting for an update. It didn't happen. So in my opinion, with DJI, you just know it's a company that will make their promises true for most of the part. So anyway, absolutely love the product. And the cool thing is also you have this record button over here. When you press it, it will actually start recording or make your picture, so you don't have to touch your touchscreen. Now, if you want it, and especially when you're shooting in 1080, of course, you can also use the zoom option. That's actually on the side here. And now you can actually zoom in. And it doesn't really get pretty, so I wouldn't use this myself, but hey, sometimes it can really help out. And you can zoom out. So that's from this little dial on the side, the zoom function. Now the balancing of the phone is really, really easy. Now it's off and you can see it's pretty much in balance. You can do it with these two screws, so it's really easy. Now, one design fault, and this is actually that frustrated me a little bit. Now, I started this review with what is the most important thing in video? Audio. Now, this is something that is mind-boggling for me. Why didn't they think of this? Now, when I take my phone off, you can actually see that here is my communication port, my USB-C port. This is where you can use a microphone. So where you can use a charging, where you can use every device you want to connect to your phone has to go through this port, this little port. Now when you look at the DJI Osmo Mobile, that's the part that actually, the only part of the phone that's blocked. DJI, what the hell? Can you solve that? Yeah, of course, you can put your phone no, you can't solve it. The phone doesn't fit any other way than that way. And that's the only part on the whole phone they block, and that's the communication port. Okay, now I hear you guys going like, yeah, but it has to be stable somewhere. Okay, very, very simple solution. Take this part off, split it in two, put one here, put one there, drill a hole in somewhere or whatever, and just make a connector here. So you can actually still use your phone. Look at the remote control from the Mavic. It just has one USB port where you can plug in every cable you want, and then you can put it in USB-C, micro USB, mini USB, it doesn't matter. Why not with a device like this that runs your battery of your phone down? For the very simple reason, video takes up a lot of your battery from your phone. This battery is huge. It's literally, in 2 weeks we didn't charge it at once, and we did use it a lot. So this battery runs forever. Why not just make a connector on here that I can charge my phone during filming, and I can actually use an external mic, because this device is great for filming. But for filming I need audio. So Of course you can use a separate microphone with a separate recorder. No, I want a one-in-all solution, and this is so close. And that's the only part that I don't like about it. Everything else, I highly recommend you checking this out. It's without a doubt the one that we will be using for the vlogs from now on if we do stuff with the phones. And the video from this phone is awesome. The only thing is, on 4K there's no image stabilization. But now there is. Highly recommend you guys checking this out. I'm sure you're gonna love it. Thank you so very much for watching, guys. If you have any questions, leave them below. And of course, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you want to support our channel, please go to the link below on Patreon. On Patreon, for $1 a month, you can actually support our work. And of course, you have higher tiers, so you can do more. And you can get on a Facebook group that's closed off, where we have a lot of discussion about photography and video. You can have portfolio reviews and a lot more. So join us on that Patreon site. Hey guys, I'm Frank Dorff. Thank you so very much for watching of this awesome DJI Osmo Mobile 2 review. Check it out. I'm sure you're gonna love it. See you again next time. Bye bye. Oh, and if you really want it, you can even see it in portrait mode. Now, I wouldn't advise this, but hey, you know, YouTube now also supports portrait mode, so, well, maybe some people want it. And the weird thing is, now, you can actually connect the microphone. Yeah. Now, to switch between portrait mode and landscape, you only have to loosen this one, and then you can actually just tilt this for landscape or portrait. Very smart.